campaign and obstructed Congress by stonewalling. There's not much new info in the report. We did learn that the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, had direct contact with the Office of Management and Budget. The federal agency would have been needed to put a hold on military aid to Ukraine. Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee also released their own minority report today, calling the impeachment inquiry a sham that didn't produce evidence.
A sham, a hoax.
Now to the other big political story today. Senator Kamala Harris is dropping out of the race to be the Democrats' nominee for president. The news dropped just hours before she was supposed to appear at a big money fundraiser in Manhattan. The California senator has been dropping in the polls since a memorable performance in the first debate. Over the long weekend, there were some bad headlines about her campaign as well. In a tweet this afternoon, she said it was the honor of her life to be a candidate.
At GCU, earning your education degree online comes with a college experience. To advance your career in education, it takes support from those around you. Our online class size averages less than 25 students.
Welcome back. We are looking ahead to the House vote on impeachment, as well as looking back at the IG report now. Joining me is Republican Congressman John Ratcliffe of Texas. He's a member of the Judiciary and Intelligence Committees and a former federal prosecutor. And Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. So we are expecting this impeachment to be on Wednesday. What are you expecting in the week ahead? And tell me about the reaction you've been seeing from that IG report.
Yeah, as you said, the vote will be on Wednesday, despite what a Democratic scholar called the fastest, thinnest, weakest impeachment in U.S. history. That's the direction that we're going. The real question is, how big will the jailbreak be by the Democrats? We've already seen one Democrat apparently switching parties over it, another saying he's going to vote against it. And so really the question is, how many more before Wednesday's vote? And the reason for that, Maria, is because the Democrats have made the mistake of staking the credibility of all this on Adam Schiff. The person that they put in charge of this investigation turns out is the one that helped start it by meeting with a person who walked out of Adam Schiff's office and became the whistleblower. And at the very same time that that's happening, as you mentioned, now there's an Inspector General report that comes out that says during the last impeachment hoax, the Trump-Russia one, Adam Schiff repeatedly made false statements to the American people about the FBI's actions. And so I think, that's what's happening. And that's why the Democrats have been pushing to keep this from unraveling and keep their folks in line. And they're having a really hard time to do that. I wouldn't want to bank my political future on Adam Schiff's credibility. They've made that mistake.
Yeah. So, going back to the IG report, Adam Schiff was certainly out and about a lot throughout the last 3 years saying that there is collusion in plain sight. And now we get the IG report and we actually see the misconduct and what they call errors, fraud, whatever you want to call it. What is your reaction to what you learned from Michael Horowitz?
Well, it wasn't just that Adam Schiff was out and about. He put out a report that said there was no FISA abuse by the FBI. That was false. He said that the FBI didn't fail to turn over exculpatory information. That was false. He said that the Steele dossier was not a central part of the FISA applications against Carter Page. That was false. The Inspector General's report, the findings in there detail all of that. It's an indictment of the things that Adam Schiff was saying. It was an indictment of Jim Comey's leadership at the FBI. The biggest takeaway for people out there, Maria, is that what the Inspector General's findings very clearly delineates is
what's going on.
You can see, and I don't. But even if you can see that there was a predicate to start this, there was no predicate to continue a counterintelligence investigation against the President of the United States. They had to do it by making those false representations to the FISA court.
And we're going to speak to Devin Nunes shortly. Of course, you referred to the Nunes memo back in 2018, February of 18, where he wrote out all of the misconduct that took place by that cabal of people. And of course, then Schiff came out with that correcting the record memo, which we know now was wrong, just flat out wrong. You mentioned some of the wrongdoing. One of them, as we know from the Michael Horowitz report, is an altering of a document by an FBI lawyer. Tell me about that, and where are you expecting accountability, Congressman?
Well, as the Inspector General's findings outline, what are referred to as errors and omissions are false statements, misrepresentations, destruction or alteration of documentary evidence. I mean, what you have are FBI lawyers literally changing evidence to make false representations to the court to continue this counterintelligence investigation against the president. So, you know, it detailed, everyone's entitled to a presumption of innocence. Democrats never want to give one to Donald Trump. But the Inspector General's findings really outline what is criminal activity. I mean, we're talking about FBI lawyers who are depriving folks like Carter Page of their civil rights under color of law.
Hey guys, Rex here. This video is for the window-licking, crayon-munching, acid-tripping Democratic lawbreakers in Virginia who think they're going to use the National Guard to enforce laws that the police don't even want to enforce. After all, these counties in Virginia have made sanctuary zones for people who want to keep their Second Amendment and Fourth Amendment rights. So, like, the Democrats in Virginia want to confiscate all the firearms, which is illegal according to the Constitution, and, you know, kick in people's doors because their girlfriend calls on them because they're yelling at the furnace or whatever the hell the deal was.
Now that I'm banking with Chime, I get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit.
Dude?
Yeah.
All right, guys, Code 132 here, checking out. So I'm sitting in my office, and it's been a while for me to take out this video because I wanted to go in a different direction than just sitting here and introducing House bills or House resolutions or Senate bills or whatever. What the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, has done since they took over both House and Senate, as well as the gubernatorial office, they've introduced an ungodly amount of unconstitutional gun control bills. And I'll be honest with you, it's absolutely frightening. And I feel like the Commonwealth of Virginia, because of what's happening and what they're doing now, they are setting a precedent for things to come. It is in my opinion. Now, leave your comments down below and watch this whole video because we're going to get into it deeper in a few seconds. But it's of my opinion that the Commonwealth of Virginia is going to be the, well, the founding of the first shit hits the fan scenario. Why do I say this? Well, if you see by this map right here, and this is a map that came out, I think, on Reddit or somebody like that, mapchart.net. These counties that are in green right here are now officially called 2A sanctuary counties. And this is where the county population came and voted, and they are going after it hard. Now, the counties in orange are pending a hearing, especially ample need. And that's huge. That's a strong showing of the people who value our rights as they are written into our Bill of Rights and our Constitution. Not as something that's being interpreted, not something where we're in control now and we're going to tell you what to do and there's nothing you can do about it because we're in control, yada, yada, yada. Of course, there's a couple counties up here in the Northeast. You know, you do have like Roanoke right there. You've got a couple of counties in the middle. So, how does this all happen? It goes back.
Chances are you may never have heard of a 3%er, and that's okay by them. They're a relatively new kind of militia group. They claim to have some 400 members in Minnesota, and they've divided the state up into 7 zones in a kind of command control structure. They say they're ready to defend us in the coming civil war. The question is, who exactly do they plan on fighting? They've always hidden in plain sight. Those who believe one day our government will go too far. Are you still a member? I have no comment on that.
Right.
No comment. A world where grievances and guns
will
go hand in hand.
There's no firearm serial number on there. It's untraceable.
Joshua Rader is a commanding officer in the United Patriots of Minnesota 3%, and one of the few willing to talk about the movement publicly.
Everybody told me not to do this interview.
Right.
But even he doesn't trust us. His brother will videotape our interview.
Group stands for pretty much protecting our community, protecting our gun rights, protecting the Second Amendment, Constitution. pretty straightforward stuff that you're used to hearing from Patriot groups, I guess.
The name Three Percenters comes from the American Revolution, a belief long disputed that only 3% of the colonists took up arms against England. The Three Percenters share ideological DNA with other right-wing extremist groups like the Posse Comitatus, the Oath Keepers, and Sovereign Citizens, and especially the militia and patriot movements of the last 20 years. Three Percenters have also become very social media savvy, spreading their message and sharing pictures on Facebook.
We got Patriots out here from Wisconsin, Minnesota, Montana, Arizona, Utah, Nebraska, Kansas. They're from all over the place.
Three Percenters have regular training exercises around the country, like this one in Colorado. Preparations, they say, for natural disasters, a terror attack, or if everything just goes to hell.
I think the country is possibly headed in the direction of civil war.
The rap on Patriot groups is that you're all a bunch of racists.
I completely disagree with the white supremacist movement. I also disagree with the black supremacist movement.
What about someone who espouses discriminatory beliefs about African Americans, about Muslims? Would you accept them into your group?
We do not accept people. That's not what we're standing for.
Joshua Rader says their members in Minnesota come from all walks of life, including law enforcement. But he also admits they've had a few bad apples.
I run into nuts here and there. Definitely, they come and try to join my group, and you got to weed them out right off the bat. Obviously, no one thought to check out Jason Thomas.
Hi, Jason. How are you? This is Jason Thomas, and he was the leader of the Three Percenters in Minnesota until his home in Red Wing was raided by the FBI earlier this year.
Simply to protect the civilian population from man-made threats and natural threats. Government and man-made threat? Yes, it is. Historically, both in America and throughout the world, governments have they've killed more citizens than the South has.
According to a previously sealed search warrant in the case, the FBI considers the Minnesota Three Percenters a militia group which believes in the violent resistance to or an intended overthrow of the U.S. government.
I'm not sure exactly why they're targeted, so I'm sure it's something to do with ideology. Yeah.
But the FBI said it was also what Jason Thomas wrote on Facebook. Quote, I can guarantee you that I'll be one of the first to start killing feds. And I'm actually trying to build up our capacity to challenge them.
I imagine you will say that you did not say those things the FBI thinks you said about killing federal agents or anything like that. You can't comment on that.
There is a violent fringe within these movements that is persistent and has been persistently dead.
Michael German's a former FBI agent who's gone undercover in several other militia groups.
Virginia legislature in November's of year.
Had all shooters tactical equipment, not a flood, but a steady flow of gunfire. Stock up, some in response to the Democratic takeover of Virginia. Had all shooters tactical equipment, not a flood, but a steady flow of gunfire. Stock up, some in response to the Democratic takeover of Virginia.
So I think that a gun for Christmas, especially for self-protection,
Republican firebrand Corey Stewart has repeatedly lost statewide races. But he helped turn out more than 1,000 people last night in support of a measure declaring Prince William County a Second Amendment sanctuary. Stewart expects a lot of people will be buying guns for the holiday.
What?
Well, secret. I don't want her to watch Channel 9 and know what I'm going to buy her.
Can I give a firearm to friends or family? The answer is yes.
Gun rights lawyers state it is legal as long as you're giving the firearm to someone who is legally allowed to own one.
It is a felony if they cannot, and you have knowingly given them a firearm.
But the lawyer also says it is smarter to give a gift card and let the recipient go through a background.
Concealed carry, my wife concealed carries. Our Second Amendment is important to us.
Democrat Vic Angry says he supports gun rights and took stock of the big turnout at the Sanctuary County voting. But he also says there are limits.
No, I don't think anyone needs to have a sword. I don't think.
But supporters estimate there are already 15 to 20 million of them in circulation in America. In Woodbridge, Bruce Lachey, WUSA 9.
Come January, the Prince William County Board of Supervisors will also flip
Peace.
Democratic control